When the doors to your flight open, please take a seat and store all carry-on items in the underseat compartment. This includes cameras, purses, hats, and, of course, these little beauties.
And they laughed at me back at university.
Maybe it's because of the tutu.
Well, you doubting autonomous, you ready to make some history?
I'm ready already. Let's go!
The future has arrived. The future has arrived today.
I'm very proud of you, child.
Thank you for guiding me, Grandmother Willow.
I did not guide you, my child. You listened to your heart. Now follow it to wherever you need to go.
WDW Radio, your information station.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to the WDW Radio Show, your Walt Disney World information station. I am your host, Lou Mongello, and this is show number 138 for the week of September 27th, 2009. Thank you for tuning in once again. There'll be no news this week as I prepare to head out to Walt Disney World for the Adventurers Club event, the Expedition Everest Challenge, and of course, the start of Epcot's International Food and Wine Festival. And to that end, we'll begin this week's show with an interview with Epcot's executive chef, Jens Dahlman. We'll discuss what's new and exciting during the 6-week entertainment-packed event filled with fine cuisine and wines from around the world. And since planning your Walt Disney World vacation is the first and often most critical step, I'll talk this week with 3 experts in doing just that. As members of the 2009 Walt Disney World Moms Panel, join me to talk about the panel, share their stories and experiences, as well as some tips and advice for travelers and potential future panelists. I'll play more of your listener voicemails at the end of the show, so sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of the WDW Radio Show. So I'm here with Epcot Executive Chef Jens Dahlman. Chef, it's got to be a very exciting time for you as the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival is about to start its 14th year.
Definitely. I mean, we worked pretty much the whole year up to this time now. So we have 4 more days left before opening, and we're excited. I mean, now it's really crunch time. We're hoping all the pre-planning and hard work is paying off now. But we feel comfortable. This year is going to be exciting for all our guests. In the marketplaces alone, the marketplace around the World Showcase, we're having about 70% new food items. We have Disney's represent 21 countries, 3 of them brand new, including Thailand, Brazil, and the dessert kiosk. So it's definitely a lot of work coming up to this time, but now it's really time for execution, and it should be fun for all of us.
Absolutely, and much like the rest of the theme parks, you always have to sort of reinvent what's happening at Food and Wine to keep it new and to keep it fresh. What are some of the highlights for you and that we as guests could look forward to on the promenade this year, and maybe some new things going on at some of the parties, such as Party for the Senses?
On the promenade, definitely, like I mentioned, we have 3 brand new kiosks. So there alone, we have brand new experiences for our guests. As well, we have from a sponsorship, we have Edie's has a brand new experience on the promenade next to the merchandise shops. It's kind of like a little small town ice cream party going on. That's fun for the guests. We have again 70% of the menu items in the kiosks are brand new. So it's really for the returning guests. It's not boring. We have some of the old favorites coming back, like the cheddar cheese from Canada or the escargot in France. And those items are still there. But I think this year you're going to have a brand new experience, aromas and flavors and authenticity.
Yeah, it definitely is very much a multi-sensory experience because wandering the promenade, you do get the different aromas from the different kiosks. What was sort of your mindset going in, not only as far as creating new dishes, but to make sure that they would be acceptable to, say, the American palate?
I think the idea was last year, I mean, the menu for this year's Food and Wine Festival was pretty much made last year while walking the promenade. So it has to be sensual for the foodies and for the guests. So now this year, one of the changes, pretty much every kiosk is either baking something to order in the kiosk, or is cooking or searing or grilling something in the kiosk to really bring out the aromas onto the promenade and kind of like cooking the guests in and pulling them towards the kiosk. So that's new, and that was really my main idea as well. Authenticity was a big piece for me. I was lucky enough to travel around the world, and I know those authentic flavors and how they should be. So I pulled from my cast and from my experience just to try to keep it as real as possible in the flavor profile, because I think we should respect cultures, and for me food is culture of any country. So if we represent Puerto Rico, it should taste like true Puerto Rican food. If you say it's Thailand, it should be true. You should have the lime and the Thai basil and the solid, the chilies, everything should be in there. So I try not to calm it down too much. I want to keep it real and authentic.
Absolutely, and we had a chance to sample just a few of the literally hundreds of things that are available on the promenade, and the variety of flavors and textures and levels of intensity it is amazing. And also, too, it's the food and wine festival. Everything sort of has its own wine pairing as well.
Definitely. Most of our kiosks of food items have wine pairings with them. Of course, sometimes it proves difficult. If you go to the Asian countries, wine harvest is really not as known over there. So, but then we feature some nice beers. So we definitely try to tie it in as much as we can.
Something else new this year, and always a huge draw for so many people, is the Party for the Senses. But this year, it's changed just a little bit, and actually it's going to change week to week.
Yes, Party of the Senses, we still keep the same forms, the same area, the World Showplace, but actually we're going to celebrate more of the nationalities of the countries. So we're gonna start up with the Spanish evening. So we're celebrating Spain and Southern America, pretty much. So flavors of Spain. Then we're gonna move on with the classical French cuisine, or we do Italian cuisine, we do celebrating Asian cuisine. So really celebrating cuisine every week. Inside, the feel has changed slightly. The colors have left a little bit. We're gonna have authentic bands and entertainment right there. So the whole event is tied up nicely into one nice, neat package.
Yeah, again, everything is about story and theme, and it even carries it. And actually, there's also an add-on experience, too, for people who are attending Party for the Senses.
Yes, we have it's a $75 extra. It's kind of considered like flying first class. So it's really an experience for the returning guest. We're going to have reserved seating. We're going to welcome you with a nice specialty drink, which is a hibiscus flower in a little sparkling Prosecco. You're going to have a VIP treatment with chef serving you amuse-bouche. You're going to have the chance possibly to meet some entertainers and guest chefs. It's really like you can enter the World Showplace 15 minutes before anybody else. You have reserved seating, and you have it for the whole event, for the whole night. That's really a nice added bonus.
Absolutely, and above and beyond the marketplace and the kiosks and the Party for the Senses, there's so much else going on. There's taste seminars, wonder bars, culinary demonstrations, wine and other beverage seminars. Really, you can't experience it all in one day or one night. Reason to keep coming back.
Yeah, I mean, you should definitely come 2-3 days, I think, to get all out of it. I mean, often forgotten, we have the festival center, which is in the old Wonders Pavilion. I mean, there we have merchandise shops, wine shops. There we have the culinary demos going on, the wine demos going on. So it's definitely it's a whole day right there. So it would be really nice to come one day, do the festival center, and do maybe the right side of the lagoon, and then you come back the next week for the rest.
And come hungry.
Definitely come hungry. You're going to need it.
They say Christmas is the most wonderful time of year. I disagree. I think the Epcot Food and Wine Festival, definitely the best time of year to come down and visit. Chef Jens, thanks so much, and looking forward to seeing you and tasting more of what the Food and Wine Festival has to offer.
Pleasure.
When it comes to planning your Walt Disney World vacation, know before you go is a mantra that should be followed by everyone, as planning really is the key to a fun, successful trip. And when planning your vacation, it makes sense to look for advice from those that are experts in just that field. And you know that oftentimes, although many of us won't admit it, if you want the best advice, you got to go to your mom. But if your mom isn't a Disney World expert, well, then you got to go to somebody else's. And thankfully, the Walt Disney World Moms Panel makes it very, very simple. The panelists there share their knowledge by answering direct questions from guests who are looking for real and reliable planning advice in an online forum, and they really act as a valuable tool, whether you're planning your first trip or even if you are a seasoned veteran. So today, I'm happy to be joined by just a few of the many wonderful moms, and let's not forget the dad. Dad's got to represent, of the Walt Disney World Moms Panel. And I want to start by welcoming them all to the show. So Margaret, Tanya, and Diane, welcome some of you back to the WDW radio show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
It's like I said, it's great to have you here. And I thought maybe we would start off, let's just kind of introduce everybody a little bit to the moms. And I found out, once again, that I have something in common, a little something in common with all of you. And we're going to start off by Margaret. Margaret's a paralegal in downtown Chicago. I feel like it's the dating game as I start. She's a busy wife and mom to 3 sons, and she's visited Walt Disney World 32 times. But you're a paralegal, so we've got the legal connection going.
We do. I am. I'm going into my 15th year as a paralegal, and I've been with the same firm for 13 years. So I enjoy it most of the time, but certainly not as much as Disney. But
I was going to say, love the law, passionate about Disney.
Exactly. I'm hoping Mickey Mouse will one day need a paralegal, and he'll give me a call. So then I can merge it all together.
Well, maybe Mickey Mouse is our lucky bachelor today. You'll have to wait and see. Non-bachelorette number 2 is Tanya, Jersey girl. We got the Jersey thing going, Tanya.
Absolutely.
And you're a mom to 2 boys?
Yep, I'm a mom to 2 little boys, 5 and 7, and I recently gave up my career to stay home with them full time. So I am enjoying being kindergarten class mom this year.
That is a tougher job than people think. So I applaud you for that. I think I might actually want to go to court rather than to stay at home, because it could be. And 2 boys. Listen, I know. And so non-bachelorette number 3. Diane, I saw nothing in your profile that we had in common, but I'm guessing, Diane, that not only do we love Disney, but I'm sure that you love the food as well.
That I love what?
The food, the Walt Disney World food as well.
Absolutely. Isn't that the most important part about a Disney trip?
I see. I knew I liked you best. And how many children do you have, Diane?
I have 3 children, 11, 8, and a daughter who will be 3 in December.
Good for you. Good for you. So, we all kind of bring something different about bringing kids of different ages down to Walt Disney World. So clearly you guys are more than qualified to be on the Moms Panel.
Well, thank you.
So for those listeners that may be really not too familiar or not 100% clear about what the Moms Panel really is and what goes on over at DisneyWorldMoms.com, can one of you just describe briefly what the panel is and what all of your roles there are? Anybody,
Sure.
Feel free. Jump in.
Sure, it's Tanya. Basically, the Moms Panel is an online forum where guests can simply type in questions about their upcoming trip, like you said, whether it's their first trip or a special trip, whether they're celebrating a special occasion, a birthday, etc. And the questions go into a pool, and we answer them. So people have asked questions from everything from dining. They ask for sample itineraries. They ask for recommendations on kids clubs, things like that.
Yeah, and the great thing, what I love about the Moms Panel, is that you are not just giving out general advice, you are answering the direct questions of guests, clearly ones that somebody else who may come to the panel website can search for, because there'll be a lot of commonality between, and I'm sure you see this, many of the same and similar types of questions throughout the year.
Correct, yes. Very much so. And, it's Margaret. The thing that I really like about it, too, is even though it's endorsed by Disney, it's obviously Disney's brainchild of type thing that they put together. We are free to give our own opinion on things. So we're not a Disney cast member. We're not paid by Disney to do this. So we're able to tell you if we really don't like dining at a particular Disney restaurant, that's completely fine. And I think guests will see that they're not being, sold on a Disney vacation. We're giving them our honest opinion of what worked best for our family.
Right. And that's why I think the concept was brilliant, because you are real moms, and yes, you are passionate about the product and passionate about Walt Disney World, but you will give your sort of uncensored answers about what you think, whether it's, like I said, a hotel, a restaurant, whatever it might be. Not that you could ever say anything bad about a Disney World restaurant. At least not on this show you can't. So.
No, but there are some that you prefer more than others, and that you're there at your 90 days, well, soon to be 180-day window to get on the phone at 6 a.m. to make those reservations for. And then there are those others that you're like, oh, okay, we'll eat here. That's fine.
If I can walk up, I'll take it. If not, no big deal. I got you. And kudos to you, with the catch for the 90 to 180 days. Well, and there's a quick question for you while I'm thinking about it. It's got to be tough for you guys because, you sort of are the gatekeepers of information to make sure that you stay apprised of all of the new deals and discounts and changes and things that are coming up to make sure that your answers are always going to be accurate. How do you kind of go about making sure that you're always sort of in touch with what's going on?
It's hard again. I know. Well, we're always so afraid we're going to jump on top of one another. I personally, and I think a lot of us, but Diane and Tanya can certainly, jump in with their ideas. I belong to a lot of, the Disney daily email alerts that they get and all of that. So I read those pretty religiously. And then certainly I get things like the Celebration magazine and, and things like that. So I constantly am reading through there. And I do a lot of searching, on different, like the WDW news sites and things like that. And we talk amongst ourselves, too. I mean, I will openly admit that there are things that I miss. I've just been busy with work or the kids, and I don't read something for a couple days, and all of a sudden one of the moms will jump in and say, hey, did you hear this? And, no, maybe I didn't. So it is a lot to stay on top of it, and it's something I would have done anyway, but I obviously now I'm trying to make sure I'm doing it more religiously because I know that I don't want to be giving the wrong information.
Right, and actually, so Tanya, for example, before you were selected for the Moms panel, did you spend a lot of time, online sort of combing through forums and answering questions for other people and really be an active participant?
Yeah, I actually have kind of a unique perspective on the Moms panel. One of my children actually has an autism spectrum disorder, and what I used to do unofficially before I was a Disney mom was give Disney planning tips to my network of friends, many of whom have special needs children. So I was sort of very active in that community. And I know with my son, I came up with a whole bunch of mommy tricks and tips to sort of help him navigate Disney in his own unique way. So that's a lot of what I did unofficially before getting on the Moms panel. But yeah, absolutely. I was very active online. I think I have every single guidebook, every edition. But yeah, with a specific focus on kids with special needs.
Yeah, and I guess now being part of the Moms panel, you take that love and that interest and obviously certainly your personal perspective, and you take it to a whole nother level because last year, correct me if I'm wrong, about 20,000 people applied to be part of the panel and only 16 of you made it? Does that sound right?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So you guys are the best of the best. You are the elite. It must be so incredibly exciting when you get that call or you get that handshake saying that you're going to be part of the Moms panel. Diane, what was that like for you? Was it life changing? Was it? Has this past year been just something you could never have expected?
This past year has exceeded every expectation. And it's so funny because I didn't dare tell anyone in my family that I was applying to the Moms Panel the first round because I thought 20,000 people, there's no way I'm going to make it, and I don't want people asking me. So I applied, and then when I made it to the second round, I finally told my husband, I said, there's this Disney Moms Panel, and there were 20,000 applicants, and his first thing he said was, "Oh, and you didn't make it past the first round?"
You gotta love the spousal support, because that's so important going forward.
And I said, no, I made it to the second round. So then he would just jokingly call me a Disney mom, because we happened to be in Disney World at the time when I finally told him about it. And then when I got the email saying that I was going to make it to the third round and that they were going to set up a phone interview, I was so nervous, and I thought, wow, I mean, even if I don't make it, how many phone interviews could there possibly be? At the time, we had no idea, and so it was unbelievable. And then making it, well, I have to say that I first thought that I was going to be stuck with some 16 weird people who obsessed about Disney every hour, and
and you found that you were completely correct,
right? But it has been, I have gotten, the best thing I've gotten out of this, besides being able to help other people plan their vacations and hopefully love Disney as much as I do, is that I've met 15 of the most wonderful people ever. And we have friendships that will last a lifetime from it.
Yeah, and you're obviously the second group of Moms panelists. The first started in 2008, and I had a chance to speak and get to know a bunch of them, and they all sort of described their experience the same way, which was they very quickly went from being strangers to friends to feeling like a family. Margaret, do you, and I'm putting you on the spot because two of them are here, but I'm sure you feel the exact same way.
Oh, I totally do. And actually, we talk about it often, how close we've all become so quickly, and we do a lot of the, especially now that the new application was just opening up, we did the whole remember where we were a year ago. We didn't even know each other, and like Diane said, I've met a group of people that I can't even imagine not having in my life. They've just become such amazing friends, and we've turned to each other not only, to joke about some of the questions or plan our Disney trips and things, but really when we need someone, whether it's problems at work or, maybe someone passed away in our family or something. So it's quickly become a family that I wouldn't trade for anything. I think all 16 of us are here for a reason. We were all picked, for a specific reason, and I would not even imagine trading one of them out for anyone else. They mean the world to me, so.
Yeah, it's Tanya. I have to echo everything that Diane and Margaret said. We literally talk every single day, and I think people don't believe us, but we are online talking to each other either on the phone or online every single day. And, obviously we spend a lot of time talking about Disney, and many of us have actually taken vacations together to Disney on our own dime, just to see each other. But we really are a great group of friends, and it's by far the best experience that a lot of us have ever had.
And I was going to ask, if you get together either sort of in an official or unofficial capacity, whether it be Disney World or I don't think there's actually anywhere else to vacation, but in Disney World, if you guys happen to get together in either official or unofficial capacity.
Yeah, in fact, in June, several moms got together, and we all, had a big slumber party in one room, and we hung out. It was a big room, just to clarify. And we had a great time. I mean, we spent, I think, 4 or 5 days together in June, and we had an absolute blast. And when we vacation, we actually keep an Excel spreadsheet that tracks all of our family vacations, and a lot of us have had overlapping family vacations, and our kids have played together. I know my boys are in love with Margaret's children and can't wait to see Miss Margaret and her 2 boys again. So we really have become best friends.
That's great. And it's funny you mentioned Excel, because I think that for many people, their only knowledge of Excel is planning their Walt Disney World vacation spreadsheets. Walt Disney World was the greatest thing that ever happened to Microsoft.
I agree. No, and we have, although there isn't any other place to go but Disney World, but we have started planning, little get-togethers here and there outside of, that lovely bubble we love to be in.
Margaret, let's not get crazy. Let's not get crazy and start talking about other places of Disney World.
Quite a few of the moms came here to Chicago over Mother's Day weekend, and we went to a musical together and went out to dinner. And I know Jody and Diane have seen each other quite a few times because they live close to each other. And Whitney and Jen, I think, live close to each other, so they've met up at some events at their hometown. So, we honestly find ways and reasons to get together whenever we possibly can. So.
And a little bluebird told me that many of the moms, possibly all the moms, are getting together very, very soon, again in Walt Disney World, for really what's going to be a real team-building event. Tell us about the Moms Expedition Everest Challenge.
Well, I think the Expedition Everest Challenge is a true testament to how much we all like each other and what we would do to be able to see each other, because with the exception of like one of us maybe, we're not big runners. And this was a tradition. The Expedition Everest 5K was a tradition that last year's Moms Panelists started. Obviously, they were more into physical fitness, and we were more into the food and wine aspect. But we decided that it would be worth it, and it would be fun, and let's train for this 5K. Except Margaret, she said she's going to walk from day one. She's probably only the smart one.
And Diane, how's that training going for you? As well as it's going for me, I'm sure. So.
Well, no, probably worse, because I've actually been trying to train. I have actually gone out running probably 3 or 4 times a week for the last, 3 months. And I still can't run a 5K. But
but that's hardcore. Compared to me, I mean, I run to the car to drive to the car line to pick up my kids, and that's my training regimen, so...
Yes, but you know what? I will be all set when it comes time to get to that fast pass line. I will be the first person there.
I told you, you'll find me either in the medical tent or at the buffet, so that's my goal.
For those of us that aren't running, though, like Margaret, I have to admit I am very proud of so many of them, though, because they really did take this to heart, and they really have made an honest attempt. And no matter what happens, they've been really good. They've been my role models while I sat on the couch and ate potato chips.
And if I could just get... Oh, go ahead, Tanya.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I have the skin knees to prove it. The first day that I went out training, I was very proud of myself. I informed all the moms, today's the day. I'm going out. I have the cutest running outfit. Made it to my mailbox, and I completely just fell on my face, skinned both knees, and then I put SpongeBob Band-Aids everywhere, and of course they chastised me. They were like, they need to be Disney Princess Band-Aids. How could you put SpongeBob Band-Aids? Yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend.
I love how your preparation started with well, I have to have a cute outfit, of course. It's not a...
Well, if you look like a runner, then you'll be a runner, right?
And I think back when you were saying that, I think back to Rocky when he would go out training, and that's probably what he was thinking. As long as I look cute, I'm sure I'll be able to make it up those steps. So it's
well, everyone that's going to be there needs to look for the very stylish moms, because all of them except me did go out and purchase new shoes, new outfits, new tanks, and I just have my bag of potato chips. So.
But Margaret, if you could put on some roller skates and maybe skate with a Dole Whip in front of you,
there you go.
Make me and then you can give it to me as I catch you.
Margaret, I'll make a deal with you. If you bring the potato chips, I'll bring some dip, and we'll eat on the course.
It's a deal, Lou. You and I.
I don't care about being first. I care about enjoying it. So. And then at the end, we'll need a little beverage to wash down those salty treats. So nobody will have more fun than us.
Exactly.
So, but
the mom Whitney that's training with them, not me, posted a really nice comment today about us. What was it, girl? Something about like it's better to finish last and not start at all or something. And so I commented that I was very glad, since I would probably be finishing last.
Listen, I agree with that sentiment. I think the fact that you signed up and we'll take that first step to the starting line is the hardest part. Even if you don't finish, you should be proud that at least you're signed up for it. And I'm wondering what the over-under is going to be. How many miles or feet into it will it be before you start cursing out last year's mom for this oh-so-stupid tradition that they started in your mind?
Probably about
already
10.
done that.
Right.
Yeah, quite a few have already pointed out that they voted for food and wine, not the running part.
Right. I was going to say, I think you should start a new tradition for 2009 and 2010. Food and wine mom get together. Because I think wandering the promenade for a few days or grazing, as it were, is a much more enjoyable and less strenuous tradition.
Well, see, here's the thing. I thought that this would be an in for getting to Disney World more frequently, because I looked and I saw that there's like a 5K every other month. There's the Princess 5K and the Goofy 5K and the Tower of Terror 5K.
Race for the taste. You can run and eat. They give you food at the end of it. Forget the medal.
And that's only a 3K. I can't believe we didn't do that one. But I thought, hey, this is a way I could convince my husband to take me to Disney World for all these races. And he would do that because we'd be fit and active and it would be great. But, I'm rethinking that plan.
Listen, what I think, and girls, you can use this, trust me. In order for you to properly answer the very important questions, I mean, look, these are people's most important family vacations. In order for you to adequately answer them, you need to experience as much as possible. And research trip has got to become a part of your vocabulary very, very quickly.
Oh, I learned that very quickly this year.
Margaret's all about research.
Margaret's had about 35 research.
Actually, the June trip that Tanya referred to kind of started as a research trip because the Pirate League was getting ready to open, and I'm a big pirate fan, and it was all about researching this Pirate League. And although we did do that, and we did do our pirate video and stuff like that, it turned out to be a big slumber party. But see, it started as a research trip. So.
It always starts as a research trip. And I'm actually happy that you mentioned the Pirates League, because one of the things I wanted to talk about is something that you guys have definitely expanded upon from last year, and that's been doing the videos. Now no longer can you sort of hide behind the keyboard. You're out there and your face is out there. What has that experience been like for you, and maybe the first time sort of getting out in front of the camera? Diane, what about you?
Yeah, well, I haven't done as many videos. I did the American Idol Experience one, but the first time we all had to do our video was at our training trip. And I think I can speak for all of us when I say we were a nervous wreck.
Yes.
What were we going to wear? What were we going to say? Were we going to sound like complete? Well, I probably shouldn't say that.
You were concerned about how you'd present in front of the camera. We understand.
Were we going to look like fools? And was the camera going to capture our best angles? And we were very nervous. And it's really funny. I think it happened to Margaret. Margaret was in the first group, so they got done with their video, and they went off to play, and they were like, haha, we're done, and the rest of us are still, shaking like a leaf, and then we finished, but they had decided to change the location, and so they called up that first group who was standing in line for Soarin', excited that they were done and had the rest of the day to play, and they got called back to redo the video.
Yeah, I honestly thought Laura Spencer was joking. Like, I thought it was a practical joke. So that was us, but all's well that ends well, I guess.
Yeah, but it's very nerve-wracking when you see that lens in front of you, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, go, and all of a sudden you forget everything you know about Walt Disney World as soon as they start recording.
Everything we forget to know about Walt Disney World. I can't even remember my name half the time, or how many children and what their ages are.
Line, how many kids do I have, please?
I know Tanya and I have done quite a few, and she may have a completely different perspective than I do. And I'm not to say that I'm not nervous, because I have done quite a few now, but there's a really great crew that we've been working with quite consistently, and they're pretty easygoing, and they're a lot of fun to kid around with and work with and stuff like that. So I think that helps me a lot. It's when we were there in June, Tanya and I and Jody shot a couple of videos, and I think by the end of the weekend we were pretty relaxed and open with everyone because we had spent so much time together, and they were really great to work with. Not that I like the camera in my face by any means, but that does make it a lot easier. So.
Well, good. I'm gonna be videotaping the entire Everest challenge. I'm gonna be running backwards and just getting nothing but Diane and Tanya and Margaret eating potato chips. So.
Oh boy, that'll be fun.
So, but obviously, let me ask you this. The times that you do get to Walt Disney World, how much do you get a chance to, or do you want to, or does it happen even that you're recognized and get a chance to interact with the guests in the park at all? If at all. Maybe not.
I think Tanya's had some great experiences with that, haven't you, Tanya?
Yeah, I was recognized. I was actually waiting to meet Disney mom Karen for lunch or dinner at Rainforest Cafe at Downtown Disney. And actually a mom with a little boy with autism actually recognized me. And she was so sweet and asked if I was who I was. And I said yes. And I was so dumbfounded by the fact that I had been recognized that I nearly forgot what she said next, which was that she had a little boy with autism and that she had used a few of my tricks with her son and that they had such a good experience despite the fact that she was so hesitant to take her kids to Disney. She was afraid he would be overwhelmed, that they had booked a bounce back offer to come back a few months later. So that really was heartwarming.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can attest to, we've talked about going to Walt Disney World with special needs, and the one thing I consistently hear from people is not only is Walt Disney World one of, if not the very best places, but so many people have told me it is the only place that they can take their children. Many people who have children with varying levels of autism have said that as well because of how well Disney is accommodating to that and how well the children do in the parks.
Yeah, my expression is it's very user-friendly to special needs kids. It absolutely is.
Excellent. But, unfortunately, sometimes you can't always play in the park. You've got to go back and sit in front of the computer again and Margaret eat potato chips. Because you're training. You're carb loading. I understand.
Poor Margaret.
So tell us maybe quickly what a typical day or a typical week is like for a Disney Moms panelist as far as getting the questions and answering the questions and maybe how many. And I guess maybe Diane, you can go ahead and start.
Okay, well, there's a site for the moms panelists that we log on to that has a queue of the questions that have been asked, and there are some that are just general questions, and then there are questions that are written specifically to us as moms panelists. Maybe a guest had gone to our bio page and asked us a question directly, and so we go on and usually we try to tackle the ones that are asked to us directly first because because no one else can answer them. They're specific to us. So we answer those and then we go through the queue of general questions and we look through them until we find one that we can answer, and we answer. Well, we're supposed to answer 15 a week, but most of us have done many more than that. And that's about it. Anything to add, Tanya or Margaret?
Yeah, I mean, we all have our own areas of expertise, so we're not compelled to answer a specific question. And I think we all answer questions that we feel comfortable answering with. I answer a lot of special needs questions. I'm also a DVC member, so I like to answer some of the DVC questions. Margaret's in love with pirates, so we sort of leave all the pirate questions to Margaret.
I was going to say, is there a certain question that you see in the queue that you're like, this is all me, or one that you just love to get?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Tanya hit it right on. I mean, certainly with her and the special needs, there's none of us that would ever attempt, I know I wouldn't, to go near that because her experience is so much more personalized, so I could never even begin to help people with that. But certainly for me, it's, I mean, anything that yells pirates. They want to know about the Pirate League. They want to know about the Pirate Ride. They want to know about the Pirate Rooms at Caribbean Beach. I am a pirate nut, so that I think mercifully, I can't talk. They've left for me because otherwise I'd kill them. They think they know. But and then I like to handle the resort questions too because I've actually stayed at almost all of the resorts. So, kind of comparing the resorts and all that. When I see those I really kind of jump on too because I enjoy those. I think I know a good deal about those. So,
Diane,
sorry. Well, big surprise. I like the restaurant questions.
You're just sucking up to Lou again.
No, right? I like the restaurant questions, and oddly enough, I mean, sometimes these are really hard to answer, but there are a lot of questions about, okay, what are the absolute must-see attractions? So I like to give, depending on the age of the children, I usually ask my boys, or I know what my daughter likes. I ask them what their top 3 are in each park, and those are kind of fun to answer because then I can involve the rest of my family in it too, and they get a more personalized approach. A lot of times, the people who ask the questions happen to have children who are right around the same age as my children, so that's a fun one.
Yeah, and I'm sure you probably all see so many times the same question, where do I stay? Where do I eat? How to make my experience so much more memorable? But is there any question or couple of questions or person that was just real tough or real memorable or just so funny that sort of sticks out? They're laughing already.
Oh, so many.
We're going to write a book after this. No.
I was going to say, you could probably put a lot of these into your memoirs. And but yeah,
I think personally that I guess the group one that we've used a lot in other interviews and whenever we talk about is probably one of the first funny ones we had, where someone wanted to know if they could bring their hermit crabs with them to Disney, and they didn't want to leave them at home, and would this be okay? And
can they go in the kennel? And
exactly. And I mean, it was kind of funny for us because, we're like, okay, is this serious? Do these people really want to bring their hermit crabs? And we didn't know what to say. And but I do have to admit, I think it was Diane L. that ended up answering it. She took this funny question, which we joked about and we didn't know what to do with, and she gave a really great answer on it. She did a lot of research and double-checked and figured out a good way to keep your hermit crabs alive when you're gone. So she gave it a serious answer, but it was, I think that's kind of our group funny question for the year. But there's been quite a few, and Diane and Tanya can throw some of those out.
I'm wondering how many people are going to DisneyWorld.com right now and typing in hermit crab just to see what comes up in the search result. And if you get something like Bistro de Paris, it's going to be really interesting if that's the first result.
I recently answered a question. There was a mom who I guess had 2 little boys that were similar in age to mine, and the way she worded the question, you could tell her kids were literally like sitting on her lap trying to kill her while she was typing, saying something like, my kids are so bad, I don't know what to do with myself. Is it even worth going to Disney? And how do I keep them from killing each other? And it was so funny because initially I was like, oh boy, this is maybe for this question. Then I was thinking this poor mom is probably at the end of her rope or whatever. So I responded with something. I know my kids right now are still in the he's touching me phase. That's like my house. Mom, he's touching me. So I suggested, she was asking what kind of stroller to pick, and I remember in our most recent trip, I literally had to take a pillow out of one of the hotel rooms and keep it between the kids. And if anybody crossed the pillow line, that was it. No more rides for the day. And
yeah, there probably comes a point where you recommend, a romantic getaway for 2. Maybe something you guys should consider. So, but one thing I did want to ask you guys about, certainly because you've been through the process, and one of you touched on it earlier, is we recently, just by a couple of days, passed the time when the 2010 applicants submitted their entries. And again, I'm expecting the number, if it's not 20,000, to be possibly even over 20,000. And the application process lasted 10 days. But if each of you had to give some advice to somebody who may be sitting there listening, who's waiting for the call and hoping for the call, like Lou on a Friday night in high school, sitting by the phone, making sure it actually still works every 5 minutes. What? Don't laugh. It's a very traumatic part of my childhood and college. Each of you, maybe Diane, and then Tanya and Margaret. What sort of advice would you give to the awaiting mom/dad?
Oh, the ones that have already. Oh, that's a tough one since they've already put in their application. I guess just to. Wow.
Talk about food. Talk about food is key.
To start planning. Well, see, it was easy for me because I was consumed with planning my my Disney vacation. I sent in my application and my trip was a month away, so that kind of kept me occupied and kind of seeped into the magic. So, wow.
Well, let me ask you this. So Tanya, did you have like little cliff notes? Did you have notes on a note card sitting by the phone just in case they called at some point and wanted to make sure that you hit all the buzzwords and the important things you wanted to say?
I didn't have any waiting for them to call. We knew that it was a series of online questions up until the last round, and then we were told that it was going to be an interview. So I will say, in preparation for the interview, I had Post-it notes probably in 35 different colors all over my home office with like arrows, and every guidebook with like I went to law school, so I had all these little stickets everywhere from law school that I dug up. So I was like fully prepared. I had my headset on, running around in case they asked a specific question. And then of course they called, and kind of like Diane, I couldn't remember my name, let alone which Post-it had which answer on it, and I pretty much just ummed and uhed through the entire process. So I don't know that I have advice for people waiting to see if they're going to advance, because I think I was pretty thoroughly convinced there was no way I was going to make it to the panel after my interview.
So we've got ums and uhs and Post-its. Okay, that's good. That's good.
Well,
it's a good start.
I think this is Diane again. I have something. Once you make it to I have something to say now. Once you make it to the phone interview, really all you can do is relax, be yourself, and talk about how much you enjoy. And they can tell. I mean, they can tell if you're sincere or not. But it's not just about how much you know about Disney World, because there are thousands of people who probably even know way more than any of us, except for maybe Margaret. She's like our trivia genius. But I'm overwhelmed by how much knowledge there is about Walt Disney World, Disneyland, all the Disney, any Disney trivia. But what kind of sets us apart is that, and at least for me, my biggest thing was that I love Walt Disney World. And more than anything, when somebody says they're planning a vacation to Walt Disney World, my first thing is that, and they've never been, and they're afraid to go because, they've got 2 kids who are too young to enjoy it. My thing is that, and I think we all want to share our experiences with those people and let them see how magical a place Walt Disney World can be. And we want to convert them into Walt Disney loving, crazed maniacs like we are.
And I was going to say, Margaret, is it really less about how much you know as opposed to how much you're just passionate about the place and passionate about wanting to help people? And certainly, obviously, your level of experience in it as well.
Correct. I mean, they don't test us. They didn't test us. It's not, they're not going to ask you the layout of the park, and they didn't ask us, to list all the hotels and stuff like that, because you really honestly can go to a book or, other website or a map to get that information. It really was about the passion and about being articulate. I think, you have to be able to explain what you want to say, which of course right now I sound like a babbling idiot, so people are probably wondering, but you have to be able to take that passion that you have and the knowledge that you do have and the experiences and be able to put it in a way that other families can relate to what you're saying. You have to be able to, tell them why that's a great restaurant or why your family really enjoys this resort over another, and let your excitement for the property come through, but at the same time just be able to show why it's such a great place and things like that. And I have to say, I actually come from a very different perspective, except for Karen and Diane L., because we call ourselves the rejects, because we actually made it to the phone interview for the 2008 panel, and the three of us did not get selected, but then we turned around and we made it back again the second time. So I have a really different perspective, I think, going through the process, because I went through twice, and I think that I didn't, I don't know, for lack of a better word, I didn't embrace it the right way the first time, because once I got through those first 2 rounds the first time, I think I oversold myself. I convinced myself if I had made it that far, then of course I was a shoo-in. Why wouldn't I be? And I think I really didn't come through and show my best side. I didn't show my passion. I didn't show why I really, would be a good asset to the panel. I think I just kind of assumed they knew that. And so the second time through, I didn't take anything for granted. And I really, it was very humbling to be able to go back and say, you know what, there are other people out there that know just as much, if not more than me. And I really need to show them why I'm, great for this panel and what I have to offer. And so the second time through, I think it really helped me to be able to do that. So I guess my best advice to people doing it is not to be confident, but not to be overly confident, because like Diane said so well, trust me, there are millions of people that know just as much, if not more, than you do. You have to be able to explain to them what you can bring to the panel. So,
and I applaud you for being, not just passionate, but patient and persistent, and certainly it paid off for you. But when you see, that they start taking the applications for 2010, it's got to be probably a little bittersweet for you guys, because this means that to a certain degree the end is near. How did that kind of make you feel?
Shh, don't tell them the end is near.
The end is never really near, because you'll always be a mom's panelist, and so many of the past panel members are still sort of involved and engaged and very much still part of the community, I see. But sort of in an official capacity, it's got to be, I'm sure you almost wish it wouldn't come to an end.
Absolutely. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Diane. Go ahead.
Yeah. I feel like since day one, since our first day on the panel, we've been like, wow, we just finished a month. We only have 9 more months. And now as we get close, especially getting close to Expedition Everest, here we are 3/4 of the way through our tenure as the 2009 Moms panelist. And it's hard to believe that that a year ago we didn't know each other, and now our time is almost up. So yeah, it's kind of tough. But I think we'll all be around in some way, form, or fashion. I don't think they'll be able to get rid of us that easily.
The Food and Wine
uncontrollably.
Food and Wine 2010 reunion meet. I'm just saying, think about it. Think about it.
I'll bring the potato chips.
I'll be happy to join you. I'll carry your drinks. So,
yeah, I think there's definitely a possibility. That they were, gracious enough to realize how great the 2008 panelists were, and to give them the opportunity to help us, which we've really appreciated, and it's been great to get to know them and spend time with them. And I'm certainly hoping, and I think everyone else is, that in some capacity they'll let us all continue on and do kind of what the 2008 panel did, if not more. So our fingers are crossed.
Good. I hope so, because the one thing it definitely sounds like is that all of you in every aspect of this experience is just having so much fun. You're just having so much fun with it. And, in wrapping things up, I was like, let me put sort of the question to them. Let me ask them sort of what's their most important tip for a first timer, or what's your perfect day in Walt Disney World? Some sort of broad, overreaching question to let you strut your mom stuff. But let's get to the important questions. All right, let's separate the men from the boys, or in this case, the moms from the whatever.
Dad, no, not
right.
the dad.
Let's separate the moms from the dad, and we'll go Tanya, Margaret, and we're going to save Diane for last because I'm curious about her answer. Tell us, moms. I'm asking you the question on the moms panel. Moms, really, what is the best place to eat on property?
All right, I will go
And no
first.
lawyer, no Lou Mangello lawyer answers. It can't be a top 5. You can't say, well, it's kind of California Grill, but I also like blah, blah, blah. Throw one out there. Defend your position.
All right, my number one right now, which changes on a, I would say, semi-monthly basis, is Jico.
You sound like you stole one from somebody.
That's right. I can come up with more.
All right. So what is it, Tanya?
Um,
what is it about
so-
Jico that's the must-do dining experience?
All right, well, I'm partial to South African wine, and there's a new one that I just tried. It was a 5 Soldiers Chardonnay the last time I was there, which I'm now hooked on, and from what I understand, it's the only place at Disney you can get it. And my kids love the macaroni and cheese. So I know it's a signature dining restaurant and not a lot of people take their kids, but my children are partial to the children's menu at Jico. And we actually had an amazing dinner there during our training trip in December at the chef's table. And I think a lot of us actually now think Jico is our favorite restaurant. But I think the memory of the Moms Panel training trip, the menu, and the wine make it number one for me.
When you started talking about your kids, I thought you were saying, my kids are really partial to the Pinot Noir, but...
No, the mac and cheese. It has the best mac and cheese.
Listen, you can't go wrong by throwing Jico out there. So, all right, Margaret, go ahead.
Okay, well, like Tanya, I mean, I have a lot, and I know I'm not allowed to say that. I do have a lot, but I'm actually going to go to a very strong, which is our family's favorite, and we go to every trip, and that's Crystal Palace. And we really enjoy the food there. We do. I mean, we love the buffet selections, and we love eating with Pooh and stuff. But we have a lot of really great family memories there, involving my grandmother and, you know, the kids' first time dining with the characters. And that's the first place that we did eat together at our training trip in December. We actually will all be back there on Friday to dine together again. So as much food is yummy, and it has delicious flan, if anyone likes flan. For me, it's the experience. And Crystal Palace is the first place that we call for reservations every trip.
See, I love that answer. I love that answer because the dining experience is so much more beyond just what's put in front of you on your plate. So
It is, because, you know, because I mean, we go to Le Cellier and all that for great steak and all of that, and we have yummy, you know, food elsewhere, but yeah, Crystal Palace is definitely the experience for us, time in and time out. So.
All right, Diane, the pressure's on. The pressure's on. Go ahead. Show some love to Pecos Bill and defend it. Defend the Fixins Bar and the cheese sauce.
You know, that's a pretty good one, too. I'm not going to go quite that extreme, although Tanya and Margaret did mention some of my favorites. But I have to say that, well, I love this. Okay, I know, lawyer questions. It's so hard to pick just one. You know what? I'm going to pick one that is good for our family, and one that when I was making our plans for our upcoming December trip, I didn't put it in because I said, "Oh, we're going to try something new and different this year," and my kids about had a heart attack. And it is one of our favorite restaurants, and my husband and I went there on our honeymoon because we stayed at the Wilderness Lodge. But it is Whispering Canyon Cafe. I don't know, something about that all-you-can-eat skillet. And asking for ketchup and the pony rides and and even the Lincoln Logs while you're waiting forever to be seated. Something about that restaurant, we just really have always had a great time, whether it's just my husband and I or my children, or even we had a grand gathering where we had our whole extended family of like 15 with us, and we've always left there smiling, and it's a great time.
Diane, I think I can explain why you like Whispering Canyon so much. It's actually very simple. 2 words or 1 word, depending on how you define. Cornbread. That's all I'm saying. Unlimited cornbread at Whispering Canyon, I'm good for the night. Just roll me out about 11:30 and I'm good to go. So, all great answers. And again, I love the fact that you didn't sort of go with the easy, clearly California Grill or Victoria and Albert, because you all talked about the dining experience. And so you're all welcome here anytime you want. So, anybody going to Food and Wine? Is anybody going to go to Food and Wine real quick?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that enthusiasm about Food and Wine. I was there a couple of days ago, and I met the executive chef, and I sampled some of the new things on the menu, and they're just phenomenal. So Food and wine is no longer a one-day experience. You really need to give yourself a couple of days to sort of graze. And all they need now in food and wine, and this is my suggestion for Disney, you can pass this along up the ladder, they need couches every 100 feet or so. Eat a few stations, lay down, take a nap, get up, move along to the next one, and your food and wine experience is complete. So, but ladies, this is obviously having had so much fun having you guys come on again. I can't wait to see you as you run past the medical tent in Expedition Everest next week. I'll be sitting there with my potato chips, waiting for you to go by. Obviously,
you and I, Lou.
You and I. You think I'm kidding? I'm bringing French onion dip.
Margaret, you and I are a team. We're running together.
That's right. That's right. Tanya and I will be there together. We'll hold the chips together.
That's going to be interesting how I explain this as I line up and I have my inhaler in one hand and dip in the other hand. So, but listen, to submit a question, to search for answers, to even learn more about the current and past Moms Panel members, you can go and visit DisneyWorldMoms.com. They're also on Facebook. Love it. Web 2.0 stuff. Most of you guys also on Twitter, which is great. I follow all you guys on Twitter. So thank you again so very much. You are always welcome here or at any restaurant in Walt Disney World. So Diane, Tanya, and Margaret, congratulations again on being part of the Moms Panel. Thanks for all that you do, and thanks for joining me on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for this week's show. Thanks to my guests, Diane, Margaret, and Tanya from the 2009 Walt Disney World Moms Panel. You can visit them, search the site, or ask your own questions at DisneyWorldMoms.com. Thanks also to Executive Chef Jens Dahlman and everybody over at Epcot Special Events. I cannot wait for Food and Wine to start. It begins on September 28th and runs through November 8th, 2009. Remember, don't go just once. Make it a full weekend because there's lots to see and lots to do. And, of course, lots of great food and wine to enjoy. So much going on, most of which is included, don't forget, with your park admission to Epcot. And you can call 407-WDW-FEST. That's 407-939-3378 for more information or to make reservations for special events and programs. You can also get festival details online at disneyworld.com/food and wine. I'll put that link in the show notes. If you are coming to Walt Disney World in October, I'd love to get together and meet up with you and other WDW radio listeners at the Meet of the Month. That will be either Saturday, October 24th or Sunday, October 25th. That's the Tower of Terror 13K weekend. Stay tuned to the website, the forums, Twitter, and Facebook for the exact location, date, and time. Don't forget, too, we're still looking to gauge interest in the Disney Dream Cruise in 2011. We are looking to sail aboard the all-new Disney Dream in early 2011. So come to the forums or Facebook. Let us know about your possible interest in coming along on a cruise, your preferred sailing date, and possible cavern preferences as well. Look on the site this week for more videos, especially more coming from Disney's D23 Expo, including a couple of exclusive walkthroughs and interviews. You can find all of my videos on the site, in iTunes, or on YouTube. And remember, if you subscribe to the show in iTunes, they'll automatically be downloaded as they are released. Be sure you come by the site at WDWRadio.com. There you can order signed copies of my trivia books, my audio guides, WDW Radio logo gear, Celebrations magazine, and lots more. You can also email the show anytime if you have a question you want answered at lou@WDWRadio.com. Or if you want to be heard on the air, call the voicemail toll-free at 888-703-2171. Please come by, follow my updates on Twitter, be my friend on Facebook, and join the WDW Radio Show fan page. Links to all those right on the homepage at WDWRadio.com. Stay tuned for another WDW Radio live video broadcast and chat coming very, very soon. And quick thanks go out to my partners and sponsors once again, including MEI and Mousefan Travel. You can visit them over at mousefantravel.com. All-Star Vacation Homes with more than 150 homes within 5 miles of Walt Disney World. You can go visit them over at allstarvacationhomes.com. And if you are interested in buying or selling DVC, head on over to Chantel and her team over at DVCbyresale.com. And as always, my friends, if you like the show, please help spread the word. Let others know about it. Review the show on iTunes. Come say hi on Facebook or in the forums. And most importantly, I want to say thank you again for taking the time to tune in this week. I really do appreciate it. Remember, always, always keep moving forward. Take that first step to following your dream. And have a great week, everybody. See ya.
Hey, Lou, the second cheer. I'm a little backed up on your podcast, but as I was going to get my mail this morning, I was listening to it, and what should I hear? But Megan Shearer wants her email or her question answered. So I'd like to thank you so much for getting to my question, and my friend did have a fantastic time for her first time ever being in Disney Park. We got the photo passes, we gave her buttons for my first visit, and I just wanted to let you know that your advice helped a lot, and I just wanted to thank you. Keep up with good work. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Hey, Lou, it's John O. from the forum. We're at the Crystal Palace, having a great time. It's our first day. Hopefully we'll see you somewhere at Walt Disney World this week. Love what you do. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Hi, Lou. This is Ashley Grisham from James Madison University at a rather unusual Disney location. I just finished listening to the presentation about the Disney College program, and I cannot wait to start. I'm hoping to go for the winter, or I guess fall semester, and I just can't wait. I'd love to work as maybe a character or in the entertainment section. I cannot wait. Thanks so much. Bye.
Hi, Lou, and fellow WDW radio listeners. This is Mike Diz Fanatic Damari from New Jersey. We had a fantastic, over 2-week trip down at Walt Disney World. We stayed at the Animal Kingdom Lodge at Kidani Village, which was outstanding. I mean, you can't say enough about that. And actually, the first half of our trip, we stayed at the new Wilderness Lodge. The new Treehouse Villas over at Saratoga Springs. And I'm telling you, I could move into that place. I think we could live there. We had a great place, right out on the water, right by the river. Beautiful view of the river. Nice privacy of having your private vacation home with our own deck and everything. And even though we were running to the parks all the time, I wish I would have had more time to spend just enjoying the vacation home itself. But it was absolutely fantastic, and I look forward to going there again. Actually planning a trip for myself and my wife, hopefully sometime the end of October. So look forward, maybe we could meet up then, Mr. Mongello, in our travels. Anyway, a couple of comments. A fantastic show. I'm looking forward to listening to A Spoonful of Sherman. Great title, and I happen to love guitar. Tried playing when I was a kid, never quite succeeded because I didn't stick to it, but I absolutely love guitar, so I'm looking forward to hearing that. That should be a fantastic album. And I heard somebody in the voicemails, Bruce from Brooklyn. I'm actually originally from Brooklyn. I'm out here in New Jersey now, about 17 or 18 years or so, but have a great trip down there, Bruce from Brooklyn, and enjoy it. And I know that train ride. I've taken that train from New York to Orlando back in the 90s, and actually this last trip we took the auto train from Virginia, which was a great ride, and we had our own car while we were down in Florida. The kids had a great time and everything. A little strange sleeping on those chairs, but it was worth the trip. Saved a lot of money, which actually that goes back to something. I think it was 2 shows ago when you were reading a bunch of questions, and somebody wrote in about, I think it was a bunch of young girls looking to take a trip to Disney World and how to save money, and that's absolutely one of the things is your method of transportation. If you have the time to take something like the train, you could definitely save money. If you don't have the luxury of that extra time to take the train, one thing to look at is Disney's Magical Express. Skip the rental car. That costs a lot of money. The taxi will cost you money back and forth. But there are a lot of great savings. Of course, staying at somewhere like the All-Star, that's a great savings as well. But great show once again, Lou, and Josh, and the other person who had suggested a Star Wars restaurant. I think that would be fantastic. I don't know who would not like that. I mean, that would be a great restaurant. Have it as a character meal. I agree. That would be, forget about it. You would have to make reservations 2 years in advance to get into a place like that. But absolutely a great idea. I'm in for that. And as far as my Disney dream, that would have to be a 2-hour voicemail, because I've got a million of them, but maybe I'll call back with one compressed one. But it would definitely have to be something where I'm communicating along with the guests, because I was a cast member at the Menlo Park Mall at the Disney Store back in 2002, and I absolutely loved being out there just talking Disney with the guests that were coming in. So it would definitely have to be something out there with the guests. But I'll think about that, and I'll get back with something. But anyway, Lou, have a fantastic time at D23. I'm so jealous that I'm not there, but I look forward to your updates, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, Lou, it's Beth. Just wanted to say thanks for the most recent podcast. I listened to you talk about Carousel of Progress while I did my 5-mile run on the treadmill the other day at the gym. And it was funny because at the end, you say what you always say, but it struck me different this time. You said, please spread the word about the show, tell everybody about it. And I thought, hey, I'm doing that right now, because as I was running at the gym, I was wearing my WDW radio t-shirt and my WDW radio hat, and I thought, okay, I'm doing that. That works. And I also wanted to say thanks to you and Becky and Justin and Lori and Mojo and everybody who helped entertain those of us who were in the box over the D23 weekend expo. That was really very cool to see everything that was going on. So I appreciate you sharing that with us and all the hard work that went into that. And can't wait to hear all about it on next week's show. Take care, Lou. See ya.
Lou, it's Joe and Stacy from Villanova from Karate Class. Here we are at Magic Kingdom Matches at Epcot, and you can hear in the background, we're on Soarin'. So enjoy the music and enjoy the ride. I look forward to talking to you. Bye. You can smell the evergreen. Here comes that pesky golf ball. Sweet smells of oranges. Lou, you're gonna have to let us know if I'm the first person to ever get Soarin' on the cell phone. Thanks, and Lou. Disneyland at Christmas.
It's Mickey and the Fireworks Show. Lou, Stacy, and Josie signing off. Look forward to hearing from you. Howdy, folks. It's Josie and Stacy Z from Villanova, and we're on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. About ready to take off. Call in, Lou, and I hope you're doing okay. Big Thunder! That's the name of the radio.
Hey Lou, this is the Lippert family. We're here at Magic Kingdom, Walt Disney World, getting ready for the parade to come right down the street. It'll be here in just a minute. We'll celebrate a Dream Come True parade. We love your show.
Hey Lou, Robert from Tennessee. Just finished listening to your podcast about the Carousel of Progress DSI. Great podcast as usual. We just a couple of weeks ago returned from a trip to the world, and for the first time we took our kids to the Carousel of Progress, mainly because of their ages. My oldest is 9 years old, and so we took him thinking, again, let's get this experience, something that I sort of grew up with, but let's let our kids experience this. And as I watched it, I realized it's a really neat sort of a conversation starter for a history lesson, if nothing else. And we were able to talk about that a little bit. But I think what's even cooler is after the show, he did say one of his favorite things about it was the show, was the song, Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. So I think it certainly made me a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow kind of guy. And then even better, I guess a little bit last night, as we're putting our kids to bed, my 3-year-old daughter was actually singing the song herself. So certainly sold me on Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. So I think I'm going to lean that way. And again, great show, and I appreciate all you do. Thanks.
Hi, this is Morgan from New Jersey. I'm 13, and last summer when I went to Disney, my little brother and I wanted to go on the Carousel of Progress because we love it so much. And I was trying to get him on, and the cast member was trying to direct us to Buzz Lightyear, who was giving out autographs. And I had to explain that we just wanted to go on the Carousel of Progress. I love your podcast, and I listen all the time, and keep up the great work.
Hey, Lou, this is Tim Senzel again from Marion, New York. I'm just chiming in my thoughts about the Carousel of Progress. We just got back from Disney World about 3 weeks ago now, unfortunately. Back to New York. Anyways, you were talking about the relevance of the youth today, and if the youth today would actually even care about such a ride. And we went on the Carousel of Progress, got a chance to see it, and I've been on it many times before in the past. But anyways, my daughter was with us. She's 9 years old, and she asked us to go back on it again because she enjoyed it so much. And I asked her what she liked about it, and she said she liked the fact that she was learning about history, and she thought that was the greatest part about it. So the relevance is that if you do get a rare child that really enjoys the things of the past, things of a time era gone by, that they will get something out of it. And it is kind of funny when you come to that last scene, when you see the video games and the TVs, and even the high-def TV isn't what we have today, which is really flat. I think it should all kind of pretty much remain the same because it was Walt's vision. It's what Walt really wanted. Maybe you can upgrade the last scene. Maybe put in a newer television or something along those lines. But anyways, that's my thoughts. The youth of today, if they really have an appreciation for it, will appreciate the history that it's being taught. I'll see you later. Bye.
Well, Lou, it's Joe and Stacy Z from Villanova, the end of another great trip to
Disney World. Currently, we like to, on our last day, I have to check out the hotel. We usually like to do some hotel hopping, check out all the different hotels. We stayed at Beach Club this time, which is awesome. Pool was awesome, and the crowds were definitely low in the park. Early September, so we didn't have a problem getting on any rides. And they were almost all walk-ons, and we really enjoyed this trip. We saw the new Hall of Presidents, and we experienced all all the normal rides. Some of our voicemail messages, which reflect that. I don't know if you'll play those or not. But today we went to some hotels that we hadn't been, or resorts we hadn't been to before. We went to Riverside, Disney's Port Orleans, Riverside, and French Quarter. And they were both very nice. We also stopped by the All-Stars and Pop Century, and we thought those were really, really neat too. Some of the stuff they have in there, as far as very nostalgic. And then we always like to end it off at Saratoga Springs is our home resort, but we like to stop by Wilderness Lodge. And that's where we're at now. We're in Wilderness Lodge with the music playing in the background, and just kind of like taking in all the sights and sounds. Wilderness Lodge's lobby is incredible, so we just like to sit back and take it all in. I'm just sitting back on this really comfortable high back chairs, and listen to that background music, which is really cool, and just kind of stare off and daydream and relax, and maybe even take a nap in the lobby at Wilderness Lodge. We're actually going to be coming back in early December, Stacy and I, and we look forward to, we're staying at Wilderness Lodge actually, so we always try to get to Wilderness Lodge in early December for the holidays. So just, wanted to let you know another great trip. And Stacy and I are about ready to hop on the plane, head back to Philadelphia, and look forward to hearing your show. And we really appreciate all the little tips we get from your show. So I just wanted to touch base and say hi to all your listeners, and we really love the show. Thanks, love. Bye.